What's up everyone, Taiki here, and in this video I want to discuss Unichain and the implications for the Uniswap token, and I'll also give a brief update on the AAVE thesis. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe, and check out the premium Discord, link will be in the description below. I post 3 weekly premium videos every single week, so if you're interested in more content, please check that out. But what you see on the screen is my AAVE position for Uni. So I'm using Uni as collateral, borrowing USDC, buy more Uni, recollateralize, etc. So this is the third time in my crypto career that I'm doing this. First time was for Avalanche in August of 2021, before the Avalanche rush, mania. Second time was, I believe, October of 2021 with Phantom. So I sold my Avalanche, bought Phantom, levered up. So this is like the third time I'm doing this. So far, I mean, the first 2 times I made a lot of money, so hopefully the third time, this is like bigger size than in 2021, but hopefully this pans out. And so the question is why am I doing this, right? So I've talked about Uniswap countless times on my channel. So a little bit over a month ago, I was buying Uniswap ahead of the V4 upgrade, which I knew was coming in October. So if you went to the Singapore event for Uniswap, they mentioned, when before, maybe October 16th. And Austin Adams, who is an advisor to Uniswap, said, V4 anticipated mid-October. So basically, the crypto teams, I think they typically tend to bunch group announcements together just so that there's more attention. So if there's going to be any announcement of a fee switch or Unichain, I thought that it would happen around October. And that's why I was aggressively buying the rumor for Uni in September, which kind of explains this video. I think a lot of people, or let me go back. I think in crypto, there's a lot of buying the rumor and selling the news because when it comes to crypto, things get hyped ahead of time. So if let's say there's something big happening next week, people on Twitter are going to be shilling it, right? It's like, oh my god, this is happening next week, guys. It's going to be bullish. And then everyone that wants to buy that asset just buys ahead of the event. So when the event actually happens, then there's no one else left to buy, and that's why things tend to be sell the news because things get way too hyped ahead of time. I think in the case of Uniswap, I don't think there was that much hype, right? I think I was literally the only one talking about Uniswap. So I don't think there was that much positioning. Of course, there's always insiders, and I'm not sure what it looks like this, but there's always insiders, and maybe we saw some sell the news ahead of after this 11% candle. And who knows, maybe I could be wrong. I will say that I have this big position on AAVE, and you can check the chain, right? If we retrace this 11% pump, right, and get back to 725 or something, right, and we put in a few daily closes below there, then I will just fully capitulate and say that I was wrong. Because if this thing is actually bullish, which I think it is, then we really should not retrace this pump, right? So if we retrace it, then I'm not going to say that the market is wrong. I'm just going to be humble, say that the market is never wrong, right? The market is telling me that I'm wrong, so I'm going to sell. But as long as we don't retrace, I'm going to hold on to this position. So what's my plan here, right? So I just want to share this snippet that I wrote for my Discord, and it kind of explains my thought process. So this was October 10th, 12:04. So it's basically the night of the 9th. And basically, Uniswap posted this cryptic tweet, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I mean, surely, right? They're gonna announce something. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna lever up. And my best bet for V4 at the time was October 16th or the 21st. But I'm just gonna let's go in with size. And there were 3 scenarios from this play, and of course, there's always gray areas. But scenario 1 is I'm right, we get some announcement, and we just pump. I'm wrong, V4 gets announced, no one gives a shit, and I break even on the trade. Or 3, I'm horribly wrong and I go broke. In the case of 1, which did happen, I predict that we're going to approach $20 fairly quickly. And the reason for that is if you go back to my original Uniswap thesis from September, I said that when in February when there was a fee switch announcement, Uniswap pumped from $6 to $18. So if there's any good news that comes out of October, we should get to those levels and higher, because I mean back then the probability of it being approved, the fee switch, was still uncertain. So if there's anything that gets announced this time around, the certainty of that actually happening should be closer to 100%, and therefore I think the market should reprice to those levels. then this isn't scientific at all, right? It's more looking at the past, and like looking at history and saying, okay, like this happened last time, and Uniswap can pump, right? People think that like these DeFi tokens can't pump, but I mean February was a prime example of it pumping. So I'm like, okay, like I really like the setup here. Downside I think is like, let's say $5. Upside is $20 plus, in my opinion. Therefore, I need a bet size, especially when I think the catalyst is happening relatively soon, which is like my thought process. I'm not sure what else I said here. Anyways, so that was kind of the idea. But obviously, it hasn't pumped that hard. I mean, Uniswap has added like almost $1 billion in market cap, 500 million to $1 billion in market cap, and it is an $8 billion asset. So I have to be patient. But my original thought was like, what's going on here? Come on, do something. Because in February, like this thing pumped like 55% in a single day, right? And over the course of from February, like 23rd to March 6th, basically like 2-3 weeks. I mean, it went from 6 to 8. I mean, I was kind of I was kind of hoping for that. Maybe I did get dumped on by insiders. I'm open to that idea actually, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. So just for full transparency, I've been buying a lot. If we retrace this pump, I'll just take small profits, right? Or I'll probably sell most of my position. And because I was buying the rumor in September, I'll still come out on top, but it'll be the saddest profit that I've ever made because I put so much work into this. Because I put out that thesis in September 12th, right? Which means that I was starting to do this work in August. And then I can kind of empathize with like the meme coin people. It's like I put so much work into this, and then the market is not rewarding me. I might as well be punting meme coins, which is like the big narrative right now. Anyways, I actually posed this question on Twitter. So part of Unichain is that it's going to be a general purpose chain. So it's not just going to be like an app chain. People can build applications on top of Unichain, and it's going to be similar to like like a general purpose L2, like basis, etc. I had this question, right? Like why aren't we pumping? I thought it would be trading much higher because my thesis was that if this happens, then we're going to pump. We did pump, but the pump was tiny, right? I expected a much larger green dildo, to be honest. What am I missing, or are people just mid-curving Unichain? And this comment or this post got 200 comments and then a bunch of I guess engagement. And look, I read through most of these arguments, right? I'm not going to read through all this. You can see me replying here and whatnot. Look, I get the narrative, right? No one cares about an L2. This is, a VC coin, whatever. But if I were to be honest, like, if you were to ask me right now, as of October 14th, I think people are mid-curving Unichain. Of course, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I think I actually said this here, where, hold up. Yeah, and maybe, right now, the market, market dislikes uncertainty. It's not a guarantee, like Josh says, it's not a guarantee that it's going to attract TVL because, basically it introduces risks. Because what if they launch Unichain and it sucks or no one bridges? So maybe the market is just waiting around and it's going to be relatively PvP. Maybe it grinds a little bit higher, but it's not going to pump because the market needs to see like billions flow into this chain, and then it's going to start pumping. Like, or maybe like there's like no one that bridges and then it goes to zero. It's possible. So maybe the market is just going to say show me. But I will say that a lot of the LPs on Uni are or rumored to be like Paradigm and like the VCs. So I think we will see probably like 9 figures of capital flock to Unichain, probably like within like the first week of launch, and then we'll kind of see how it goes. But I think the more important thing, right? And like I said earlier, or I think I said earlier, when it comes to markets, it's all about positioning. And going back to, I guess, the chart here, the reason I like these DeFi coins is that no one owns it. Of course, I mean, people of course own it, but positioning is light. So if there's any good news, it should create new inflows. And, it has been a worthless governance token, but now that it's, hold up, let me find that. But now that it's introducing staking, and then you can receive some sequencer fees that come from the L2, and probably some MEV. I think the MEV part is the biggest part. If you really buy into the Solana is going to flip ETH thesis, I mean, this is Kyle Samani's thesis. Maybe you don't buy into this, but the entire argument is that L2s are printing money off of sequencer fees and the MEV. It's siphoning value away from ETH, and Solana is bullish because Solana is a monolithic chain that captures the MEV. And if you look at ultrasound.money, which is like the ETH cope homepage here, right? If you hold ETH and if you feel like coping, you go here, and you kind of just go down. What the heck? Where is it? Uniswap is basically the application that generates most of like the fee burn on ETH and most of the MEV. So if Uniswap can monetize that, then I don't really see, like, I mean, if you really buy into like the MEV thesis, then surely you have to buy into like the Uniswap thesis, right? But who knows? Like maybe people will just buy Solana because it's going up, right? And I actually think that's gonna be the case. I think for most of these things, once it starts going up, people are gonna buy. Because if you think about AAVE, right? I laid out my AAVE thesis. I think here or somewhere, right? Like mid to late July, I think. And at the time, people were like, "Oh, Taiki, you're so cute. You're trying to buy a DeFi coin. Oh, Taiki's so cute. He's so stupid." And then it starts pumping, and then everyone starts praising me. It's like, "Oh my God, Taiki, like I'm bullish AAVE, right? I finally bought into your thesis." And like obviously, like AAVE has outperformed most of the market. If you adjust for like risk and market cap, okay, maybe that's too boomer. Has underperformed meme coins, I guess. But I mean, it's doing well, right? And I expect a similar type of price action for Uni as well. In my humble opinion, and my opinions tend to be wrong a lot of the time. So, just take that, right? Take it with a grain of salt. But I think when it comes to DeFi coins, the only investable assets in DeFi, as in, you can buy it and go into a coma for like 12 months plus, I think is AAVE and Uni. I don't think there's a few other contenders, right? But if you think about the bluest of the blue chips, I think it's AAVE and Uni. They have the majority of the market share. They have significant moats, good strong brand value. Most of the tokens are vested, and now they're introducing value accrual. If there's a time to be bullish DeFi coins, it has to be now, right? I said this back then, but I was basically calling for the bottom of the AAVE ETH chart in like mid to late July. It's like roughly here. And I was like, okay, AAVE is introducing a fee switch. If we don't bottom here, then we're never going to bottom. So the risk reward here is probably the best that you'll ever see. And I mean, the market has rewarded me. Cool. And similarly, I shared this Uni ETH chart. I mean, we've been bouncing off of these levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So, I mean, and now they're doing a chain, they're going to introduce some value accrual. If Uniswap does not bottom here, then it's going to go to zero, like honestly. So, typically you kind of want to buy assets when they're kind of at the key points of inflection. It's like, we either bottom now and we pump to Valhalla, or we just go to zero. And then, I have like a clear stop loss. For AAVE ETH, right? For AAVE, I was going to sell if we like broke these lows. Because then it's like, holy shit, like what am I doing here? And for Uni, it's like, if we break these lows, it's over, right? DeFi tokens are uninvestable. I think that's where the majority of the markets are at in terms of like sentiment. I think the majority of market participants are kind of thinking like that. It's like, DeFi tokens are untouchable. But like I said, the pump has been pretty underwhelming. But for me, I think I just have to be patient. And I'll give you like reasons why. So, I guess looking at, actually, yeah, let's look at AAVE because we're talking about it. The reason I bought into AAVE was because of this AAVEnomics update, July 25th, where TLDR, right? We're going to take our revenue, we're going to take our profits, we're going to buy back AAVE, and we're going to distribute it to stakers, was the TLDR. This was July 25th. And July 25th, where is it? Like roughly here, right? It was $90, let's say. And we pumped, right? We pumped. Like, how much do we pump? We'll just take from the daily open. to the close, we pumped like 30%. And then we fully retraced, right? We bottomed here on the fee switch proposal, pumped, retraced because the entire markets went down, and then we just like started like grind higher, which I think is still my base case. I just think that AAVE just grinds higher over time. And then another example is Maker. So obviously Maker has structural issues. I was really bullish Maker last year, and I bought at like 1,000-ish in July. And then I didn't play this perfectly well. I sold it for like a little bit over 2x. I felt like I should have held it longer. But anyways, the reason Maker bottomed, right? And Maker was, I mean, if you flash back like a year and a half ago, you would have been laughed out the room if you like considered buying Maker, right? It's like Maker, right? Like, isn't it going to zero? But the reason it bottomed was because I think June 23rd, they introduced the Smart Burn engine, which basically said, okay, we're gonna take our profits and we're gonna just buy Maker, right? Or we're gonna buy back Maker. I'm not gonna read through this, but basically, yeah, like we're gonna buy a bunch of Maker. I just take some DAI, buy Maker with it. And June 23rd, if you check the chart, was basically here, right? June 23rd. So basically, we have some precedence on DeFi tokens and like some form of a fee switch. When it gets announced, like it's bullish, right? Maker went from like $660 to $4,000. So let's say that's like a 6x over the course of like 6 months, actually like 9 months. I mean, that is a pretty humble return, like honestly, because if you literally bought like Maker at the date of the fee switch, I mean, think about it. Like, what risk are you taking, right? I mean, everyone hates this asset. Like, no one owns it, and now the market is, or not now, the market is telling you that we're gonna start buying back assets, like some form of value accrual. Of course, it's a bullish, right? And then there's like the rebrand, which was kind of bearish, and it introduces some, some systemic risk to the protocol, which is like kind of why it's going down, like in my opinion. But I mean, that's precedent one of. I mean, last year this happened before our very eyes. Honestly, I was very surprised, like by the speed of this move, but it happened. And same goes for AAVE. I think we're kind of in the middle of, because like AAVE is up almost 2x. I think it can reasonably go up, go up a lot higher. And I guess like maybe looking at the AAVE ETH chart, I mean, I guess in the case of AAVE, it's just like when it like went up in a straight line. But in the case of Maker, right, if you check the Maker ETH chart, which, I still kind of like to look at, June 23rd was like roughly here, right? I mean, the week of the announcement, I mean, Maker ETH was actually red, right? I mean, they announced the fee switch and then it was red. And then we like went vertical. So, I mean, UNI ETH is still green. I think that makes sense. But I think if I were to make a guess, right, of course I can't see into the future, but the thing I've been saying is that I think the risk reward of UNI relative to the USD and the ETH, the valuation, relative to like the USD and the ETH valuation is very good. Therefore, I'm buying is kind of my TLDR, and I still think that's gonna be the case. I don't think we're gonna go up in a straight line. I mean, I want it to go up in a straight line, right? Because then my dopamine addiction is going to be fulfilled and whatnot. But realistically, it's an $8 billion asset. It takes a lot of money to move in these markets. I think there were some people that front ran the news and sold, which kind of explains the price action. But I think if you had to buy a DeFi asset to hold, like it has to be AAVE and UNI, right? Like that's the top two candidates, at least. So I still like it. I still like it. I still like UNI. I still like AAVE. Of course, with AAVE, there's like this World Liver DeFi with Trump, right? I mean, I think they're selling like. Actually, this goes live. What was it? October 14th. Okay, there's like like be ready for Tuesday, right? So I think they're raising like $300 million at a $1.5 billion valuation. I mean, if you're buying this, then good luck to you, right? I guess. The bull case for AAVE here is that I think 7% of the supply is going to be given to AAVE because World Liberty Financial is just a front end for AAVE. And I think there's going to be some revenue share. And I think the token's not going to be transferable for 12 months. Right? So like, I mean, like, what happens if he doesn't win? Like, what happens? Like, does it just go to zero, and they pocket like whatever they're able to raise? And even if he does win, like, how much can this actually be worth, right? I mean, who knows? Honestly, if this thing pumps, then I'm probably gonna like really push the AAVE governance people to like just dump this token. It's probably not gonna happen because they have to be aligned and whatnot, right? But it'll be good, right? Or maybe not good. It'll be cool. Maybe sometime next year, this thing is actually tradable. It's like worth like $10 billion. And then the AAVE DAO is like just selling every day, right? Selling this coin to buy AAVE. That would be pretty good, honestly. I mean, maybe that would mark the top for AAVE, right? Because then, people will be saying like Trump is buying our bags or something. I don't fucking know, man. If you're buying that, good luck to you. I don't really think that's going to be, I don't really think this is like a bull case for AAVE, right? Because I mean, people already know this. It's not really like, hidden information. I just think AAVE is going to go up regardless of like this like random project, which newsflash, probably not worth punting, honestly. But who knows? I mean, I not financial advice, of course. So I think this is most of the things I wanted to cover today. Let me just check all my tabs. Yeah. Actually, maybe I can go through some of these arguments, right? Right. Why is this bearish? The thing is, I don't really think you can make an argument that this is bearish, the asset, because there's it's similar to like the pre-bald regime and the bald regime. It's like before the announcement, like the market is fairly pricing uni at like $6 to $7. After the announcement, I honestly think the fair value should be like much higher. I don't know to what degree, right? Maybe it's fairly valued at $8 and I'm like fucked, right? Or maybe it's fairly valued higher. I mean, I have no idea, but I think the floor increases for uni at this point, which also, right, traders should think about, right? If the floor increases, if there's catalyst on the horizon, then there's more of a reason to like buy and hold these things. But anyways, like this guy is like, oh, ETH DeFi is going to zero, right? It's going to zero, right? Whatever. But my counter argument is that, well, like Lido is untouchable. If you listen to my Arthur 0x podcast that I did like a month or two ago, like Lido is untouchable or uninvestable. It's just tradable, but uninvestable. Maker also, right? Probably not a fair comparison. Yeah, I mean, okay, like maybe he's like fully capitulated ETH DeFi, and he's like just bullish Solana DeFi, which I can totally get behind, right? I don't mind those coins. And then there's like also like these arguments around like, oh, like fee switch is going, like this rules out a fee switch. I mean, maybe in the short term, but not really. MEV capture and gas can't come close to matching the earning potential for taking a cut. I disagree. If you look at how much MEV is being generated, it's a lot higher. In fact, I mean, if you like I said, if you buy into the cost money thesis, then I mean, like there's some cognitive dissonance there. There's like this Murad. So I have this on the different podcast called Study Lads, and we interviewed Murad, who's like the main character right now, and he's arguing that all altcoins are overvalued, and then there's like every coin or every altcoin has some mimetic premium associated with it, and meme coins are going to take away that mimetic premium, which means that the average altcoin is going to continue to go down, and meme coins are going to continue to pump, which I can get behind. But of course, sorry, I don't think that's going to apply to all tokens. Maybe that's bearish like 98% of altcoins in the space. But if you can pick the 2%, I still think there's edge there, and I think I do have an edge in DeFi because I just spent so much time on it. And then I think this guy is like, yeah, the PE is low, yada. But I don't think that they're considering like MEV. If you look at other L2 tokens like Arbitrum Optimism, they're essentially farm tokens. They still have vesting, and they don't have value accrual. And as a result, I think they should be priced a lot lower. I think the fair comparison for Unichain or the Uni token now is, I think, base. And that's what the assumption that, I think Uniswap team is top of class. They're going to execute pretty well. And I don't think you can compare some like Arbitrum Optimism like farm token with zero value accrual with vesting to a token that's fully vested that actually has value accrual. In fact, I mean, you can even start to make a bull case for optimism in arbitrum because maybe this people have to start pricing in maybe in 2026 or something, right? There's like arbitrum and optimism will also do a fee switch at some point. But honestly, who the fuck cares, right? It was priced in, right? Lamau, that's funny. Aerodrome is future finance, right? I always get people again. Was that exit liquidity again? What did he say? If you have to ask, I am the, yeah, maybe I am the exit liquidity. I don't think people care. That's true. Maybe people don't care. But actually, I'll leave this with a final thought, right? I'll leave you guys with a final thought. The thing with markets is that inherently, I think humans, also like that, this includes myself, we want people to agree with us, right? Because if we buy a token and I say that I own this token and everyone just shits on me, then it feels bad, right? It's like what am I seeing, or what are they seeing that I don't see? Am I just stupid, right? And probably probability says I am stupid, right? There's like I shouldn't be contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. But the thing is, it feels bad when people disagree with you. But if people agree with you, right? If I say I'm bullish this token, and everyone's like, oh yeah, like Taiki, you're so smart, it feels good. But also, if everyone agrees with you, or maybe, okay, if people agree with you, then chances are they also own the token, which then you have to ask yourself, like, okay, who's left to buy after this? Of course, if there's like more flows, like if people are punting money into crypto, then yeah, it's gonna go up. But when I made the video in September, when I met Vitalik and I met a lot of you, right, like watchers of the channel and whatnot, one thing I noticed is that I talked to a lot of fund managers that they were like just shilling me AAVE. It's like, oh my god, like AAVE is such a good asset. Like I love AAVE. And what a great call, Taiki. Like we also agree, right? And we bought lower than you, right? So they're like flexing their entries. It's like, bro, like how the fuck did you buy below me? Anyways, but like following token 2049, like that, it led to a 20% correction in AAVE. And I think it's literally because everyone was shilling 25%. Everyone was shilling AAVE. Everyone owns it. So we have to punish some of that late capital that see AAVE being shilled on timeline and then they buy, right? You have to like those people have to lose money, right? Some money. And in the case of Uniswap, I mean, just go on this thread, right? If you just read like these arguments, like it's I honestly think people are mid-curving Unichain. And in fact, I actually like it, right? I love the fact that people disagree with me because if it starts going up, then these people are going to buy. Like for sure, like these people are going to buy, right? It's like, oh my God, like Unichain is, like if Uniswap goes to like $10 or something, right? People are going to start doing some technical analysis, like whatever, right? It's like, oh, okay, people are going to find a reason to like buy this thing, right? Because it's going up. And I think people only buy, like generally like the average person only buys things as they go up, which, I mean, honestly, like, the utility of crypto is that it pumps, right? So you should be buying things that go up. But for me, right? For me, I'm not that smart when it comes to meme coin trenches. I mean, I own some meme coins, and like admittedly, they are pumping a lot harder than Uni. So it's like, I have some existential quarter life crisis stuff that I have to deal with. But I don't know. I feel like if I had to bet size, it's going to be AAVE and Uni, right? I mean, I think they've both bottomed against its ETH pair, right? Which means that there's going to be less opportunity cost to like holding these things relative to ETH, right? So I think Uniswap and AAVE, following the fee switch and Unichain and all that news, has officially become ETH beta, right? I think AAVE and Uni are mid-curve, or it's like ETH beta that mid-curves can buy, right? Because maybe proper ETH beta is like meme coins, right? But I think these coins are just going to outperform ETH, and you're not going to lose that much sleep over it. Is my personal opinion. Full disclosure, I do own Uni bags, I do own AAVE bags, but you guys know that, right? I've been posting like these theses for over a month, right? For Uni over a month, for AAVE like 3 months. So you know where I'm coming from. And yeah, it's gonna leave. Okay, 30-minute video. Okay. By the way, let me know what you think of the setup. You know, I spent this weekend like setting this up. Pretty cool, actually. Whoa. Okay, so I mean, yeah, thanks guys. If you enjoyed the content, please check out the premium Discord. I post 3 weekly premium videos, and let me know what you think of Unichain. Maybe I am mid-curving, but even if I am mid-curving, I still think it's going to go up, right? Because this study the amount of hate I have gotten, right? Like, this is bullish, right? Like, people are ridiculing me for like holding DeFi coins, like they're not going to pump, right? I mean, you know, they're not going to pump like 10x, I think, but I don't know. I like it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.